Hi, and welcome to Dynamic DCUO. Wind here, and today we're going to be running around with Light Slinger, and we're going to be taking a look at skill points, augments, and artifacts. Now, they all make a difference in how strong you are, and we're going to be looking at the might side of things today. But what I've done is I've removed my artifacts, my skill points, and my augments, and we're going to add them back slowly so you can see the increase. Now, as you see here, I have no stat points in my crits or in my might and power down at the bottom. So we're pretty much going off my armor here. Now, there's it. As you can see, also the artifacts are removed, the augments are removed, so we are going to be, pretty much bare bones. Now, I'm going to use my sparring target. We're not going to be using the combat parser or anything like that. We're just going to be looking at the sparring target and the damage I'm doing on average to it. As you see, we're in the low 9,000s to upper 9,000s, not really critting on anything. So this is our starting point. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add one artifact back in. We're going to start with the tetrahedron. And you can see there is some increase. I'm actually hitting in the just under 11 a lot of times. So that's a nice little increase. Now as I add in the next one, now this will bring up a pet to help fight with you. This adds some might and stuff to you, so it made a little increase to the might. But the big thing is the pet, which is currently doing around 2,500 average damage every time it hits. Now my next artifact, and different artifacts will modify your results on this, but I'm using the source shard, which is again is adding a little bit, but not a whole lot. Its big thing would be to use it with a pet up to double the pet's damage output for 5 seconds, which usually gets 2 to 3 hits in. So we're going to go ahead and take the artifacts back off, and we're going to see how just the augments compare to our baseline here. So we're still in those lower to mid 9s. So we'll go ahead and put on just our origin augments, which are the small ones. And again, none of these are maxed out. This is all very mid-range. But it still gives you a nice idea of how much you're getting from each group of, whether it's the artifacts, etc. So as you can see, putting on the origin augments didn't do a whole lot. I'm getting a little bit out of it as far as might goes. But, all of these things do add things other than might, even though might is what we're looking at today. I mean, you're getting power benefits, healing benefits, all kinds of other things from your skill, where your stat points are, what augments you have, what artifacts. So now we have our other augments on as well, and it's made it made a little bigger difference. Now we're going to add the artifacts back in with it, so that we have an idea what the augments and artifacts do together. And as you can see, it is making a difference, which would be expected from what we saw with the artifacts alone. But it is a little higher than it was just with the artifacts. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the stat points. And I'm going to bring them up in increments, starting with the crits. And we'll start with just the crit chance. So I do go for the crit when I level up as well, to start with. But as you can see, even though I'm not really doing any more damage from hit to hit, I'm critting more often, and that makes a big difference. And now as we increase the crit damage, so we'll go back into stat points, we'll throw in the 40, and now the critical attack damage will go up, so we'll have the crit chance up, the crit damage up, on top of the artifacts and the augments. And now we're starting to see quite a bit of difference in damage output from our starting point. So as we move into the into the might and power part of the stats, I'm going to go up in increments of 50 after I start with 100 base. And the 100 base, as you can see, it does some. I mean, it's not a huge increase, but there is another increase in damage. And if you've noticed, none of these increases are extremely large. Some are larger than others, but it's not like you're going to be able to focus on just one area and it's going to, be the majority of your damage. Now, there might be, depending on how your loadouts and stuff are set up, some things will take priority where they do more damage, like different pet loadouts and stuff that, how you have things arranged may affect your output with certain things to where your artifacts, create more damage than anything else. But as the way I'm set up, I'm getting a pretty even spread of help from everything. Um, you know, nothing is making or breaking me on its own. So the main point of this is to show that it really doesn't um, behoove you to stress out over your skill points or over your artifact level or your augment levels. You want to work on all of them, but none of them are true make or breaks. I mean, going down just one road will not be helpful. So you want to make sure you're really focusing on skill points, artifacts, and augments. While the skill points are definitely necessary for your power side of things and for your crit chance. The artifacts, they're going to be necessary for your heavy extra damage, and your augments, they impact however you need them to impact, whether it's might, bite, power, etc. And they're probably the lesser of the three, but even they make a huge difference, because if you run out of power, it's still an issue. But hopefully this gave you some idea of what you do and don't need to focus on. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like this kind of content, please click like and subscribe. Click the bell icon to stay notified. Leave us some comments and suggestions. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, happy gaming.